And if Michigan were to be right on the bubble, then the committee would be talking to everybody. They would be communicating to everybody across the sport about the schedule. Michigan scheduled Oklahoma, didn't buy out of the game, went down there, played them on the road with a true freshman quarterback and lost, and then ended up getting on a win streak. And in this scenario, with a win over the number one team in the country, they would be sitting there and thinking to themselves like, hey, you're telling us if we don't go to the playoff that we should have scheduled Southeastern Missouri State. That's what the committee would be telling them. And that's not what we want the committee to be telling anybody. We want them to value non-conference games, in particular big ones that we want to see between two blue bloods. That's what we want to see. Every college football fan wants those games to be a premium. So Michigan at 9-2 sitting here with their matchup over Ohio State. Their losses are against Oklahoma and SC. Their strength of schedule is 37th. They do not have a win over a CFP top 25 team as of yet. They're 0-2 at this point. But just remember, if they were to beat Ohio State, the clear number one team in the country, and they would be on the bubble at that point, I do think that you've got to at least take into consideration what message you're sending the rest of college football if they're not included in that.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another Who You Got Live video. I'm Sun-EB7, and thank you for joining. This is the Thanksgiving edition. It's going to be more about college football. Joel Klatt had an interesting take on college football. I wanted to cover that. If you're not into college football, check back with us tomorrow. Of course, if you want to, we have plenty of videos you can go back and look at. Otherwise, that's what this one's going to be about. I'm going to try to make this video as short as I possibly can. Because I haven't been covering college football for a minute, just due to all the changes and all the things that goes on in college football, the NIL and the transfer portal. It makes it kind of hard to cover that. So I haven't been into it that much because of all the changes, but maybe we'll rotate that way, maybe next year. That said, you heard the Joel Klatt's version of what's happening in college football, at least part of it. If you want to watch the whole video, the link is in the description. Now, I will say this. The problem with college football playoff rankings is this. It's the same problem that's been going on for years. They just can't solve it. I tell you why. The things that Joel Klatt argued, his point here. Now, you didn't get the whole video, so go watch the whole video for you so you can understand what I'm getting at here. The same problems that we had back when there was the, when you're old enough to remember the API versus the AP poll, and then the college football bowl series, and then the college football playoff series. Okay, each one of them did advance past their last one. Because if you look at the AP versus API, you look at all those people that shared the national championship, right? And the reason they shared the national championship because there was no format that would allow them to play each other and see who the best, right? That said, we got the same problem now. Only difference is we get a playoff series and we play for the championship. But Joel Klatt just mentioned scenarios that if they happen, we're going to have the same arguments, right? But there is one, I'll put it this way. I have a solution. I think that we're making this a lot more difficult than it has to be. There is no reason why the NFL has a playoff system that no one argues. But college football has a playoff system that everyone argues. Scenarios can change it to where it's unfair. But in the NFL, scenarios can change it to where you out and they're in. There's no unfair in the NFL. Because it's simple. College football failed to remove all the emotional baggage that comes with picking for the college football playoffs. They want you to think that it's because there's 130 schools, that's just FBA, that it's so hard to pick them. No, it's not. So here's how I see the college football rankings and how they choose and where it fell off the rails, which it was already off the rails when they got it, and how they can get it on track, right? So basically, you have to remove or eliminate some of the god-awful variables that you included to help the whining coaches and teams. Like, for instance, strength of schedule. Okay, the NFL has strength of schedule. You can have strength of schedule, but the strength of schedule shouldn't come in first, second, or third. It should come in way down the list. Now, why do I say that? Because anybody that watched football, especially college football, for a long time or for just a minimal amount of time, they understand that the teams that play the cake schedules don't get in the big games. They can't beat the big boys. I'll give you an example. Franklin in Penn State, he looked good. 104 wins, 45 losses. That looks good. But when you see the stat 1-18 against top 10 Big Ten schools, that tells a different story. That means that no matter where he goes and what bowl he gets in, he's going to get his butt kicked because those are ranked schools. You see? So what don't come out in the wash will come out in the rinse. Okay? And I'll say that again. What don't come out in the wash will come out in the rinse. Basically, you might not have caught that he's playing a cake schedule, in the season. But when he runs up against the Miamis, the Notre Dames, the Alabamas, the Oklahomas, he going home. So in that regard, I think that it's going to wash itself out. So take the variable out or move it down as far as when you consider strength of schedule. Okay, next, they need to pay more attention to who you lose to rather than who you beat. If a team beats Notre Dame at its peak, but loses to Purdue, Purdue loss is more important than Notre Dame win. Why? Because anybody can get beat on any given Saturday. So we already know that. Now, you can't apply that to everything I've said. I'm going to tell you why. Okay. No matter what's happening, I don't care if there's a hurricane on a Tuesday during a thunderstorm. If you lost that game, that's who you lost to. So you got a schedule of 11 games, 12 games with the championship, or 13 with the championship. Either way, you're going to get wins. That's why you're ranked so high. That's why you get up there. But who you lost to tells more about who you are than who you beat. Right? So in this case, Notre Dame's number 2. You beat Notre Dame, and Purdue is number 25. You lose to Purdue. Where should you be ranked? In the middle, 15? Yeah, so 15 and down. Because why? Because that loss to Purdue says you can be beat quicker than Notre Dame. Because as far as we know, Notre Dame would have never lost to Purdue. But you did. So I'm going to put this in perspective with the professional game. In the NFL, the first thing they're going to look at in the division, well, in the conference, when they rank you for the playoffs, is just your record, right? And then if there's a tie, the first thing they look at is head to head. Did y'all play each other and who won? The next thing they look at is common opponents. Common opponents. So if you both played this team over here and they beat that team and you lost to that team, you see how your loss is what cost you? That is the policy by which the college game should be putting in, because a loss is more important than a win. If you don't have wins, you ain't going to be up there. There's no argument. It takes care of itself. But if you got wins, but you got a loss that you should never have lost, then that becomes a factor in how far you go. Because why? Because people are going to argue, okay, I won 11 games and then I lost to San Diego State. That shouldn't disqualify me. Look at all the people I beat. No, go home. Next year, win those games and beat San Diego State. because you shouldn't have lost to them because they're on another level. That was a game you shouldn't have lost. If you go that route, no one can argue this. I mean, anyone can argue it, but they'll look stupid. I'm just saying, you cannot go to someone and say that I beat the number 1 team in the country, but I lost to the number 25 team in the country, so I should be in the playoffs. No, you shouldn't, because you lost to 25. Your ass should be 24 or 26. So that's why that works in the NFL. I've never really seen arguments about how they rank them in the NFL. They know, well, you lost to so-and-so, that's what got you. I've had plenty of conversations with the NFL playoffs, and I've never had anybody come to me and go, well, the way they choose them, the way they rank them, that's bad. No, it's like this. You know, going into the season, these are the teams you can't lose to. And if you do, this is going to hurt you. You're going to have to win some more games and make sure you don't lose to anyone of that caliber again, and that's going to protect you and get you in the game, right? So there's that. So when you take out the emotional mumbo jumbo that turned the playoffs in college football to a pageant, because that's really what it is. If you watch a USA pageant or a world pageant, it looks just like college football. Tell me, go watch one for 5 minutes, pull it up on YouTube, and tell me when you watch these girls, you're looking at 50 of them that you would make number 1. But they have to say, one talks and you're like, yeah, no, that can't be her. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's the same thing in college football. Is not the college football playoffs. I would change the CFP to the college football pageant. I'm just telling you, that's all it is. Because they're putting variables in there that doesn't need to be there. My favorite team, one of them, is Oklahoma. If Oklahoma does great, but they lose to the last team in their conference and they get snubbed, you won't hear me complaining. The only thing I'll be complaining about is why the hell did you lose that? I don't have no excuse for it. You lost a game you shouldn't have lost. That's it. Next year, don't lose that game. That's it. So in the conclusion, if the college football if they looked at what I said and they took away those variables, they would take all this garbage out, and now we would have a clear picture. We would have clarity on how you get to the college football playoffs. And teams will know ahead of time. In the NFL, teams know before they get there. In the last week of the season, or let's say it's close and they're still picking teams, they pretty much have an idea of what it takes. So what they'll say is, listen, we're in if they lose or if they tie. Those are clear rules. We're in if this team lose, and this team lose, and we beat this team. That's clear. It's not well, the committee said they value your win over this team over that team. See, that makes it a pageant. And so until they solve the problem this way and put more logic into it instead of emotion, it'll always be a pageant. That's all it is. And that's all I have for today. Happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays. Be careful out there on Black Friday. Take care.
And if Michigan were to be right on the bubble, then the committee would be talking to everybody. They would be